All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. This is episode 143, and I am your host, Adam. Today is November 30th of 2025, and we have with us today our great friends of the show, Nick and Syd from
Hey,
Bitcoin
guys.
Live.
Hey, Adam.
Thanks, guys, for joining us today. Topher is under the weather. So he won't be joining us, but we wish him well and a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get well soon, Topher.
Yeah, that's right. And a happy Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys celebrate Thanksgiving, but that's what we had
I do.
this weekend.
I
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And
actually, there's like a small place. Well, actually, it's a big place in Holland where they also celebrate it. It's in Leiden. And it turns out that the Pilgrim Fathers, there were some Pilgrim Fathers who sort of came from Leiden.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, yeah, one of the first pilgrims that came to the U.S. were Dutch, and they say the American accent is an influence of the Dutch English accent, which is
we're just so cool.
Yes, and very influential. That's for sure.
Yeah, technically in Canada we have a different date for Thanksgiving, but I celebrate both. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot when it was because I lived in Montreal
last month. It's in October.
Oh, last month. Okay, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. We're a global show, you guys. Well, I'm here in California. Syd's in Canada, and Nick's in not Amsterdam. But are you outside Amsterdam? I know you're in the Netherlands.
No, I'm actually in Amsterdam.
Oh, you're in Amsterdam. Yeah. So we spoke about this. Cool city. Love that place.
Yeah, it's
a lot of drugs.
If you ever visit, I'd love to show you guys around.
Yeah, and we can do drugs over there.
Yeah, I think didn't they clamp down on that a little bit, right? Or is it still the way it was?
No, it's more or less still the way it was.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember the cafes and never did anything more than hash though, because they have.
I think if you take that away from the Dutch people, especially the Amsterdam people, then you have a revolt.
Yeah, it is just so part of the city, part of the culture there. High Times, isn't it published out of Amsterdam? High Times magazine.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Or maybe in the past when it was illegal here.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, and last week we did talk about the Age of Disclosure, and we covered it, gave our viewpoints about it. I'm not sure. Did you guys watch the Age of Disclosure?
I still have to see it.
No, I didn't watch it, and I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not paying them for this propaganda. I think that's a propaganda.
Yeah, and it is, and now we're not saying there's not truths in there, right? There's a lot of truths in there. It's just they leave out a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
It was nice that they covered the legacy. They did talk about the legacy program a lot. So it seemed like there was a fight going on between the new guys and the old guys, and they weren't giving the new guys the toys or the information. That's what it seems. Yeah, and.
Also, Stephen Greer posted something yesterday. Did you read his tweet?
Who?
Stephen Greer.
Oh,
yeah.
Greer. Yes, that's right. I don't have that queued up. Yeah, it was yesterday. It came out. Yeah, he called it the Age of Deception.
The Age of Deception. Basically, he's saying that they are changing the facts that aliens are the threat, but the reality is we are the threat to the aliens, and they just want to create this deception that aliens going to attack us. Yeah. But the reality is opposite. We don't need to fear them.
I mean,
he did a podcast.
Also, he said that this is the base for the war in space. They want to do a war in space.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious who the psychopaths are, right? And the people that rule us are they're apex predators, extremely violent. And they want their way or the highway, and they even treat these other beings like that. It's been that way since the beginning, right? Shooting them down, just nukes everywhere, nuclear tests, in quotations, nukes in space. Like, who the hell was that for? Seriously, scientific exploring, study, like blowing up nukes in space. So yeah, it's been a
that also ties into sort of the plasma research, right, with the ionosphere.
Yes.
So they might have been up to something else.
Right. Yeah. And if you remember that Malmgren guy, the advisor to presidents, he said that they shot down a UFO one of the nukes, one of the nuclear tests.
Yeah, and you remember the case, I think in 1963, when UFOs sort of they shot a nuclear missile into space, and then a UFO or two UFOs appeared, and they sort of dismantled the nuke.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Which was recorded.
This has always been this back and forth, and but some people do argue, I think Giorgiani is one of them, is that nukes brought us up to their level and that we weren't their slaves anymore, right? That humans were fighting back and against the tyrannical hierarchical system that these aliens apparently keep us under.
I don't buy that one, that they are afraid of nukes. I don't think nuke can scare them. They don't scare me, to be honest. So I don't think aliens will be afraid of nukes.
I think we talked about it last time. The four of us, and I think when Syd sort of said that it was sort of the technology behind nuclear energy that is actually what they're concerned about,
right?
And the power that gives us. So I think, like Syd says, I think it's not the nuclear weapons themselves that are the issue, but I think it's the technology.
Yeah. Also, like, if you guys have watched the movie Mars Attack, remember they tried to shoot nuke on that, and the way they just dismantled it was hilarious. And then they smoked it. So I think it's something like that.
And also with Mars attacks, do you remember how they died? Right, with resonance.
Yeah,
music,
so
vibrations.
So hilarious.
Yes.
I actually, bringing up nukes, even Independence Day, they used a nuke and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, right, and we have a history of them shutting down nukes all the time, and so it's something kind of to do with it, or maybe because it destroys the planet, And this is if someone created this system and this realm and is managing it and monitoring it, maybe it's doing the damage to Earth and the atmosphere, which is what they're concerned of. Who knows? But there's definitely been a war going on between the two, a secret war.
And there's definitely something going on in nuclear facilities, right? I mean, last time we talked about the Joshua guy, the guard at a nuclear facility at I forgot the place, but and the shadow beings that are.
Oh yes, that they got into the base actually and into the secret vaults, right?
Yeah. So they're all over the place, and I think that's another reason why there's so much secrecy around nuclear sites and radiation and fallout. Right, the Atomic Secrecy Act that David Grush talks about and that they use to make UFOs top classified.
Yeah, exactly. So, but returning now to Syd's its propaganda. I mean, let's explore this with these different clips that we have. Jay Stratton. Now, you guys have to notice that it's on Fox News. And what does Trump watch? He watches Fox News, right? That's all he watches. His entire administration are Fox News anchors. It should be called the Fox News administration.
Exactly.
I mean, you have Hegseth, Bongino. I mean, even Kash Patel. I don't think he was on Fox News, but he was a regular
guest. Yeah, regular guest over there.
Right. Yeah. So all and so many others. I think maybe not Bondi, but there was someone else. Some judge. What's her name?
If they were not there, they will be after this administration. So.
Right. Exactly. So this is all he sees. So it does feel like an op.
So we can say that the administration is run by Rupert Murdoch.
Yes. Yeah. What is that show? Did you guys ever watch that show, Succession? On HBO? Oh, it's so good, you guys. You should definitely watch it. And it's a very it's based on that family. And it just shows like how powerful and influential like a media owner could be. So it mingles it with politics, and you see what's going on behind the scenes, or what could be going on behind the scenes.
But one of the things that I do find always kind of interesting is because it's a right wing, of course. So I totally agree that
he's
very powerful. But they always don't talk about the other side, which is equally powerful. And
of course.
No, we talk about the left as well. Like the left media is controlled by Soros, so that's bad guy. So
the left destroyed themselves after COVID. Really, the left media. Yeah,
both because actually right as well. No one like Fox or MSNBC anymore.
Yeah, but you know, for example, do you remember Cambridge Analytica? And there was like a huge, was like a huge thing, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, they influenced the elections," and blah blah blah.
Right.
But they didn't talk about the elections before, which were influenced by Google themselves, right? So,
right,
and then it's okay.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, because the right wing only has Fox. That's about it, right? Everyone else is left.
They have News Nation and all other.
I guess, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they're growing.
Not News Nation.
Middle.
Yeah, in the middle, but then there are like the shitty channels. Nobody watched them. I can't remember their name, but there
Newsmax.
are Newsmax. Yeah. And there is one more.
But I agree with Syd that right now the powers are shifting the other way, right? It's now
it is.
The tides are turning, and now the left is
they're
left
in shambles.
Is gonna take over, and that's how they fool us. They control left and right, and then they fool us. Yeah,
they do, and that's why we have to look at everything with just with an observant eye, and not fall for the left-right thing. And even the same thing comes to UFOs, right? So Fox News is having on just Jay Stratton. He was, and it's weird they didn't mention OSAP in the documentary, but he was part of the UAPTF and ATIP. That's right. He was director of ATIP with Elizondo. He was in the Age of Disclosure. He doesn't do too many interviews, so now he's on Fox. This is after the fact of the show. And he's coming out with the book, of course.
Of course.
Of course, yeah. But let's take a listen here what he's saying on Bret Baier, I think.
The best way I can say, Sean, is it's not from here. I spent 20 years researching this topic, working this topic directly on behalf of the American people. And I did everything I could and did confirm that some of the things that they're seeing are obviously, completely terrestrial, whatever word you want to use there, from potential adversary nations, from, defense contractors and companies here, commercial sources. However, there were still cases that we could not attribute to any nation on earth. And that says a lot.
Do you both believe that they're hostile, Dan? Hostile forces, entities, if you will.
I think that's to be determined. We do not know.
We don't know for sure.
We don't know what their intentions are. Look, I interviewed 34 military government intelligence officials, Sean. They couldn't tell us any better than you could what the intention of non-human intelligent life is, right? All we know is that this is a real situation. It exists. There are UAP penetrating our most sensitive airspace. It is a problem. And even if you can't wrap your head around the idea of it being non-human intelligent life, what are the choices you're left with? An adversarial nation like China or Russia has leapfrogged us technologically and is invading our most, classified and protected airspace. That's not great either. So, no matter how you have to look at it to get your head wrapped around it, it's got to become a serious conversation, a serious national conversation, a serious global conversation. And, the film reveals there has been a deeply hidden crash retrieval and reverse engineering program in the United States. China has one, Russia has one. There is, in fact, a high-stakes secret Cold War race. Rubio talks about this race on camera, on the record, in the film, and makes it clear that if we don't get our act together as a nation, we're going to wake up one day. To quote him, he literally says, we will wake up one day and China will have beat us. And we won't know how they got there or when they got there, but we will be screwed.
So it's not a threat, but it's a threat, right? Basically what he's saying.
Yeah, I think Louis Elizondo. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying this is Blue Beam. He's promoting Blue Beam right now. He's strongly implying that they are hostile, but he's not saying it because that's not
right.
Yeah,
exactly. So we don't know, but then he went into a rant that basically is a threat from all angles, whether they're real or not. And but if it's an adversary, that if China does it, that they'll beat us to it and get more advanced. Which I don't know.
Yeah, but remember what Louis Elizondo, he defined a threat from the national security perspective, and he defined it as follows: like you got intent, which we don't know, and they're at least honest about that. But you also have a threat in capability, right? And if you look at it that way, then there is a threat there, right? Because they have abilities that are way beyond what we can imagine. So
right.
Even if they are positive or friendly, if you're a giant and you sit on an ant's hill, right? It will be destroyed, even if you don't mean the ants any harm. So that is, a reason, a logical way to look at things. But on the other hand, it's of course nonsense, because we know, they admit themselves, right? You have like an 80-year retrieval program. So that means they have been around and interacting with us for at least 80 years and probably 1,000 or 5,000 years or longer. And they didn't kill us. So from that perspective, there's no threat, because otherwise we would already be dead, right? Yeah. And then they do admit that there's an arms race going, which is real, right? Because that's what the 80-year cover-up is all about.
Exactly.
And that's where the real threat is, and that's where Stephen Greer is right. Because the thing that we should be worrying about, what is actually the national threat, is the lie and the cover-up, which has created this clandestine operation without overview or accountability or transparency, which is kind of like a rogue group, which is probably supranational. I think it's not tied to any specific.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely international. Yes, it's international in scope.
Yeah, and that's the real danger, right? That's why we need transparency, and why we need full transparency.
Right, because they see it through their lens, right? This ruling class have always seen it from their lens, how to achieve their goals, and that's why it's been kept secret, and only things that they approve of have been let out to only further achieve their goals. Like if you look at the internet, and you sent me something about the surveillance state, all these technologies out there just really, yes, they do enhance our lives, but they also further enslave us, right? And make us more manageable. Those are the only things that are left out, because it's like, all right, what can we weaponize from this technology? How can we use it for our goals only? Yeah, so that's the threat.
Yeah, and I think
just take out. We are so dependent to the technology. If you take out just internet, we will lose our mind. Just internet, not even electricity. We are so addicted and we are so dependent on that. It's already weaponized. They just have to plug it out, and we are.
Yeah.
I think on the one hand that's true, and on the other hand, I do know a lot of friends around me who actually did unplug quite successfully, and are sort of living a quieter life and a more simple life.
Unplug the social media, not internet. They are two separate things. Yeah, you can still unplug the social media, but internet, like, we are dependent on that. It's like whole communication is working through internet.
It's how people make their income, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you can create. More and more people are creating these circular economies that are sort of.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So community. You mean communities, smaller communities, and then they rely on each other.
Rely on each other, but also for example, in Weimar, Germany, or at least sort of in the interbellum, the period between the wars, you actually had and in a lot of other places. Actually, there's a great book on that from Robert Leater, Rethinking Money, and he sort of catalogs hundreds of years, but also many countries where they experimented with money. And there were many experiments in the interbellum between in Germany where there were communities that ran on different forms of money that were perfectly fine without central banking or central government intervention.
I'm sure they were,
that were sort of local economies that were self-sufficient and self-organized, and they didn't need anything from outside.
Very cool. Did they barter, or did they use their own kind of local currency?
Sort of own currency, sometimes based with collateral, that people put there. But there's many different types of currency, right? Because currency is basically an incentive structure, right? And so it's like the water that we swim in or the air that we breathe. We don't really think about money and what it is and what it does, but it actually structures everything that we do, right? It's sort of, when people say people vote with their feet, what they actually mean is they vote with their money, right? You make your most fundamental choices in what you spend your money on and what you don't spend it on.
Yeah, so that's what I'll tell you. You're just talking about a few thousand people out of 8 billion people. When you look into the scale, they mean nothing. And the way they are planning, when I say they, everybody understand the ruling class. So what they are planning, they're going to replace all the jobs with the robots, and then they will be in a mess of a lot of people who don't have any jobs and they
I
don't know
know,
how
I
to
know.
provide, and then we will have the only thing they can do is to kill, and to kill they will start a civil war, they will start world war, they will get aliens to attack us. This is all a big
I
mess.
I totally agree. I mean, Sid and me have been over this over and over again,
Yeah.
and we basically agree. But I'm just saying, like, there's still hope, and
Yeah.
you can do things to
Oh
insulate
no, there is
yourself.
hope. There is definitely hope, and that's Jesus who gonna come and save us. But until then, we are messed up.
I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I'm not too religious. I'm very spiritual, okay, and I've read all the books and
Same.
yeah. And when I just look at the problem we have, and it does seem like on the only way, and it's not like I'm searching for that or longing for it, but the only solution I see is that there's some kind of divine intervention.
Yeah,
To
I agree.
save they're too powerful.
It's- And then we are getting weaker, even though we are large in number, but we are so weak we can't do anything. The only way we can be saved is like a divine intervention.
Well, yeah, I mean that's sort of where I do sort of agree with Race or Georgiani. I do think that they want us to believe that we're very weak and that we can't do anything. I think we're much stronger actually than we realize, and that they're much more afraid of us than we think.
I agree. But this is the mindset, right? We have this mindset that we can't do it. And the problem is, if one person who is brave enough to lead, nobody gonna follow it because they are afraid. So that's why we are weak. I think one thing, I think Jesus will come when we won't have that one person from our humanity who can save us. Until then, God gonna rely on us that if maybe one person can stand up and fight. The day there is there is no one left on earth, then I think there will be a divine intervention.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to get really bad. Things are bad, but it's gonna have to get like really.
There's nothing right now.
But these are also the goals. The goals of this group. Okay, they do say that anyway. They want to bring God down, and the only way to do it is to have extreme sin on the planet, right?
Exactly.
What's his name? Is it Zabbatai Zevi in the 1600s? I think he was. Yeah, I think it's him. He inverted Judaism. I think they're called the Frankists, but he found it.
Yeah, Frankists. I know.
Yeah, so they inverted everything, right? The 10 Commandments were all inverted, and that's how they live because they think that's the only way to bring God down. So that might be it, also. I don't know, or just a good excuse to be evil.
And then there are a lot of end of time cults, not just in Judaism. There are in Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, I mean, all religion there are who just want to expedite it to that. I don't know what they are thinking.
Yeah, these are basically apocalyptic religions, right? They are linear.
Yeah.
No, not the religions. It's just the people. Religions. If you read religions, you know that religion do not promote that idea. It's the people who just have this cult mind. They want to expedite it.
No, but I mean, with apocalyptic is like they are linear, right? So they got a start and they moving towards sort of redemption or
an end. Yeah.
An end, right? And the end is an apocalypse is like a revelation, right? So that's when sort of things are wrapped up and people are judged and sentenced accordingly. Some go to heaven and some go to hell.
Right. It could be how the human mind works too, right? Because that's where the Big Bang Theory came from. So it has to start somewhere and then end somewhere, just like our days do, right? We wake up and we go to sleep.
But actually, sort of the earlier religions were circular religions. Like the Romans had circular religions and the Greeks had circular religions.
No. They have also beginning. It's only Hinduism which is circular, but it's still
Hinduism.
There is the end.
The Romans and the Greeks also have circular religions. Actually, the older religions are circular in nature.
I have read actually Roman and those things. They have a starting point. There was before Zeus, there was Kronos, and Kronos' father started everything.
Yeah, I know.
Kronos was that. So there is a beginning. That's not circular.
Yeah, okay, but every religion has a beginning. But I mean, what you see.
But that's not circular, right?
Yeah,
because there is a beginning and there is going to be end eventually in those religions.
So wait, Hinduism, there's no beginning?
No, Hinduism is like in circles. They have Brahma who creates
there's
everything.
No beginning?
They have cycles. They have
cycles, yeah. So Brahma create everything, Vishnu preserve, and Shiva destroy. And then when he destroys, Brahma is recreated and Brahma creates everything. But they have the ending. Eventually they have yugas, and we are in the second last or last yuga. After that, there is no cycle.
Oh, great. Well, isn't that weird that all these religions are coinciding in a way in the same periods? Unless it was all created by, I mean, Giorgiani says they're all created by the same entities anyway.
Yeah, possible.
Yeah.
But even in the cycle religion, which is Hinduism, I think it's the only cycle religion, and they have the ending. Yeah, that's they have multiple cycles, but there is an ending in that religion too.
All right, so I mean, maybe we can apply that to disclosure, and actually, it's like a never-ending disclosure we get. It's just the same. They once they feel like disclosure is ending, then they come up with a documentary like The Age of Disclosure and restart the whole thing again. I mean, it does feel like 2017 in a way. I guess only Rubio, by the way, was really good in that documentary. It was before, and I can't stand that guy. Okay, I think he's extremely evil.
Yeah,
but he said some really smart things. Like, I thought the guy was dumb, but he actually said some really smart things in that documentary. And I think it stems from the fact that he doesn't have access. So he's like, there are all these bureaucrats that have been there for 30 years, and if someone comes and wants this information, they just wait out whoever's been appointed, and they don't have to give them anything because he's out of office. And then he'll say it's just how deep it is covered by people that would come in, would learn the truth, and then would leave and not tell the new person coming in about this subject, and it gets lost. So I thought it was pretty interesting how he knew all that information. And when he got interviewed, he was just senator. Although, powerful senator, but, now the guy's, he for sure knows. He's National Security Advisor, I think, and Department of State together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, it's very powerful that Marco Rubio went on the record and, sort of put that out there, because it does give credence and weight to the whole thing, right? Otherwise, it would be, just government officials and people wouldn't really know who's who. But Marco Rubio puts a face to it, and he's like the minister. What is he? I think foreign minister.
He was, former senator.
Yeah, but I think he's like of foreign affairs, right?
Oh yes, yeah. He was on a lot of actually committees. He's a pretty powerful guy, because the ruling class love him because he's just a shill to them.
So I guess when I look at The Age of Disclosure, I think it's very well made. It looks really cool. It's nice that all these people go on the record, and I think it's a documentary that you can actually show to newbies or people who are skeptical and who don't believe anything that you and me and Syd say. Right, it's something that you can show them, and then at least they can start thinking about all this stuff.
This will bring a lot of, and it has already brought a lot of new people into, just like what 2017 did. So it's doing something similar, and it's still expensive to watch it. So I don't think many people have watched it. It's still, I think
$20.
Yeah. Most people are not going to pay that. They'll just wait until it's $5. But it is bringing on new people.
Also the pirated copy is out if anybody wants.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I stopped doing that, I think like a few years ago. It was 5 or 10 years ago. I'm like, that's it. I can't do it anymore. I was stealing so much.
Foreign sites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's Chris Mellon, and this is his response after he watched, because he was in there, but there were some interviews, like Clapper, for example, he did not hear. Clapper said when he was chief of staff of the Air Force that there was a secret UAP project, and that he blames himself for the secrecy or something like that. Anyway, but I heard George Knapp say that Clapper was the one who actually stopped the declassification when OSAP was around, when they wanted new projects. He's like, no, this is nonsense. Just stop it. And they stopped it. They stopped some projects. So we know he's a piece of garbage anyway. But Chris here is saying to put the head of the Air Force and others under oath in front of Congress so they can be questioned because of that. And he also said that the Air Force never gave up information to Congress when they asked for it, but the Navy does, for example. Like what happened with Gimbal and the Nimitz UFOs. Yeah. He says there were Air Force pilots, Air Force jets in the area, and we never got that information. The Navy gave us everything. They gave us videos, telemetry, radar data, but the Air Force gave nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because the naval seems to be pushing this whole thing.
Yes,
and the Air Force is trying to keep it back, right? So that's sort of the
another fight. Yeah,
there's a clear fight there, and that has been going on for like 80 years, right? Because if you
it's the same fight.
If you go to the Condon Commission, right, it was the Air Force who, and it was the Air Force that was also created with the CIA in 1947.
Good point.
Yeah, and it's I think it was in the interview with Gallaudet where Danny Jones asked him this question, or something like along those lines.
Yeah,
and then Gallaudet sort of responded that it is because the Air Force is by nature very hierarchical, right? Because you have a central command, and that is sending all these planes, while the Navy is by default decentralized, because you have these ships that have to operate on their own, right? Especially submarines and all these kind of things. So these people have to make decisions without central command, basically. So this sort of in the structure of the Navy to be more open about these things.
You just reminded me that when they created the Air Force, they modeled it after the FBI, or at least the AOF, the Air Force Office of Special Investigation, AFOSI, at least, or maybe that one was modeled after the FBI. But that's cool. I didn't know that the Navy was decentralized, and that's why it's such a cool.
Let's say more decentralized.
Right. It's still military, right? Yeah.
Also, now we have a Space Force. I don't know. They never shared any data.
Nothing.
Yeah, and this is their job, right? To watch the space. I don't know what they are doing. Not a single thing came out of that.
I suspect that they will be the most important military force in the future. Remember that in the past it was the Navy who runs the seas, who controls the seas, controls the world.
Yeah,
and now it is, of course, he who controls space controls the world. And if you want to control space, then you have to control the moon, because that is sort of the launch pad into the rest
part
of
it. Exactly. Yeah.
So Space Force will be the most powerful.
Yeah. Also, Northrop Grumman is building a train line on Moon. Did you guys saw that?
Yeah.
Oh, I did see that. Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm thinking to apply for a job over there. I want to go on the moon. I want to build some rail tracks over there.
It's cool. That'd be cool, man.
And Rolls-Royce are providing the nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
I hope they do it. I hope they actually do it. I mean, they've been talking about it for how long now? I mean,
no, I think their timeline is 2030 for Northrop Grumman to start doing that.
And I think this whole UAP thing, this whole UFO thing and the disclosure thing, I mean, that ties directly into the space-based economy, right? I think those two things are, and the AI race. I think the AI race is actually an AI/UAP race.
It is.
Which is tied to the space-based economy that is around the corner. So, those three things are interlinked, and the disclosure is happening because of those two things.
Absolutely, yes. And we can see in their actions of what they're doing behind the scenes that is exactly what's going on. And it's all intertwined. AI with the UAP and
you can't have one without the other, and they're sort of reinforcing.
Yeah, right, exactly. And here's just a reminder of this is from Lester Nair. General Clapper is not the only reason Chris Mellon is throwing shots at the U.S. Air Force. He released this signal exchange last year that was approved by DOPSR with a senior official who was considerably more high-ranking than whistleblower David Grush. And this was about the Kingman aircraft, the Kingman craft that happened in Arizona. So this guy goes, right now we haven't gone that far back. It's redacted. So 1945. We're dealing with the recovered UAP that landed in Kingman, Arizona in the 50s. We're vacuuming up info as redacted gets read in. We now know the management structure and security control systems and ownership of the crash retrieval. We also know who recovers landed or crashed UAPs under what authorities. We also know that a still highly classified memo by Secretary of the U.S. Air Force in the 1950s is still in effect to maintain the cover on UAPs. So there's a standing order from the Secretary of the U.S. Air Force in the 1950s, and those are in the books of Donald Kehoe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been it came in, not when the U.S. Air Force started, but after there were so many of these sightings and the public was just so interested and they wanted more. He released this order, which makes sense why the Air Force is not sharing anything. You know, it's an institutional thing. Anything with UAPs, crashed or whatever, we will not share with anyone.
Yeah, but it's still interesting to find sort of the original reasoning that has been given to us is that there was the Cold War, and that there was this race, and that and maybe also that, you know, people were still too religious, and that it would shake their worldview to the core, and that I think those are the two main reasons that we are being told that it was kept under rocks and that they, you know, put all the secrecy on top of it. But is that really is that really
not anymore, right?
Not anymore. No, definitely not anymore.
Yeah, except I think that they're spearheading with an agenda, and that this will stop that agenda, right? I mean, if people, because there's a lot of people in this world that just worship the elite, they really do, and they really do. They think they're like so powerful and so rich and so blah blah blah. This would just destroy that entire narrative, right? Yeah. That there's other beings out there that are more powerful, more advanced, and they just maybe they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, but I think that's sort of like what we just said with the space-based economy and the AI race and the UAP race. I think right now they're ready to, you know, like Syd says, Project Bluebeam, right? I think they're ready to take on these beings because, you know, you got Ingo Swann and who was the other one? Joe McMonagle. I think both independently and other remote viewers sort of confirmed it, that they're like beings on the other side of the moon, or, you know, some entities or whatever. So you know, why didn't we go back to the moon? If perhaps we have, but, you know, for as far as we know, we didn't. But, you know, maybe these entities were too strong to take on, you know, heads on. Maybe we're ready now.
I mean,
by the way, I don't buy this thing that they were not ready back then. They were easier to control. Boomers were the dumbest generation in the history of humanity. They would have bought every crap. I think we are way more skeptical than boomers. So I think this whole idea that they were not ready, they would not accept it. No, that's not true. We are the one who are not going to accept the bullshit. So
I just heard that on an interview somewhere. That someone's like, if the president comes out and says something, like 50% of the people will just dismiss it.
Boomers used to buy things because they saw ad on TV. That's how they
okay, but you have to see it in the time, right? It was all new to them. I mean, look at us, right? I mean, I know many people in my surrounding who believe everything they see online, right? So
true. Like, I mean, that's why Q works.
So we're the dopes, right? Like 50 years from now, they look back at us and they say, "Oh my God, you know, they believed everything they saw on."
No, not true, because we don't even look previous generation, like the generations in 18th century. We know they were not stupid. I'm specifically talking about the people who were there from 1940s to 70s, 80s. They were. Like,
I think you're being too harsh, and look at
they messed up everything. They got the beautiful world and they destroyed it for us. All the suffering we are having right now is because of those people. But they made like really bad policy.
I mean, they never pushed back as hard, I think.
Yeah, they accepted everything. They were told the lies and they accepted it.
No, but they also didn't have social media and the internet. So I don't really blame them. Although there's a lot of books out there, but man,
I think, are you guys familiar with The Fourth Turning? The book, The Fourth Turning.
Yes, There's the different generations.
That you got the seculum, which is basically, going back to the Romans, right? So even though Syd is sort of right that they also had a linear religion, but they also had very cyclical ideas, and the seculum is actually one of those Roman circular ideas that everything repeats, and that you got like a seculum is basically one lifespan, which is around 80 to 100 years, and that you have young age, mid age, prime, and then old age, right? So you've got 4 segments in the life, and then after that it repeats again. And basically what the secular means in the fourth turning is that when you look at, especially it's sort of focused on America. If you look at America, that it sort of repeats every roughly 100 to 80 years. And then what it actually means is that you got weak men create weak times, which creates strong men, which create good times. And then, it sort of repeats over and over again. So,
and for that, I will say those boomers were the weak men who created the worst time.
but the point is they were the result of strong men who created good times, right? So we're
no, the problem is that this phrase was like spread by the boomers that weak men do that, but they are those weak men who did that. That's why I hate the hypocrites.
You mean they're creating the worst time that are,
and then those worst time will create the strong man. You can see that we are
and Gen Z. Gen Z is probably going to be that.
The strong man. And you can see that Gen Z is way more smarter even than the millennials. They're
amazing. I mean,
I'm so impressed on that. Like, they are really good. We were so stupid.
Too.
Yeah,
me too. And they're not.
When
evil.
we were kids, we were so stupid, and now I realize why. Because Boomer made us stupid.
Yeah. So that is our dump on boomers. Well, he's a boomer here from Karl Nell, and he's telling us.
Let's
listen to Karl Nell. It's just a small clip.
Various presidents have been told, but many have not been told.
Retired Colonel Karl Nell was the Army director for supporting the UAP task force. Why would a president not be told?
There was a feeling that elected officials might not be sophisticated or intellectual enough to deal with that kind of complexity.
The Soul Foundation
and that goes to the point, that some of them just can't handle it. And I guess going back to the point of the boomer generation is that, if many of them were sophisticated enough about this subject and, they were briefed about it, or they would have went after it. I know it was just Clinton who really went after it.
No, there were
Carter,
guys too.
Carter as well, right? He tried. He apparently cried when they told him the truth, but he didn't tell us anything, and he still says he doesn't know anything about it. Or, sorry, he recently died. But before that... Yeah, before his death, he said he was never. There's nothing to it.
Yeah, Clinton was honeypotted, and he had to.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's why he shut up. And everybody knows that he was clearly honeypotted through Monica.
I think Bill was a pretty bad person, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no, all of them are bad. Whoever is the president is a bad person. But the thing is,
if they got there,
if
they got there, then
they are bad persons. But the thing is, among the bad, somebody can do good things. Like Trump is a bad person, but he can do some good, right? So even with Clinton, he was going to release it, but then he honeypotted and he gave up on everything.
And in Age of Disclosure, they talk about that George H.W. Bush wanted to release the administration wanted to release this information.
Yeah, and then a plane flew into the buildings.
Right, exactly. It's weird that September 11th happened a month after the Disclosure Project.
Exactly.
2001. Yeah. And all those people were ready to go to Congress and testify, and boom, we're taking on this trajectory.
Yeah, I think Bush Jr. had like the worst administration around him in history.
So evil, man. You can't get more evil than them.
Rumsfeld and Cheney, and oh my god, and Wolfowitz, oh my god.
Yeah, Rumsfeld. I mean, Cheney alone is just he's like Darth Vader.
That's enough.
And then you add Rumsfeld to that.
Even though I do like Rumsfeld's humor, and he was clearly, I do like the known unknown and the unknown unknown, and
Yeah, that's pretty genius.
He did have a way with words, but he was not a good person.
By the way,
apologized. He actually apologized for Abu Ghraib, because I forgot what research I was doing. I was looking at old videos. And,
he had like a sort of strange honor about him. He was also the one who actually said that there were 2 billion missing, right? And then
2.3 trillion missing. Then the next day,
Oh, by the way, when we are talking about this topic, I want to give a shout out to Ryan Dawson. He released the best 9/11 documentary. It's called Empire Unmasked, If you have to watch it, everyone go and watch it, because it's not like the stupid thing where people were saying building 7 collapsed or those things. He actually went in there into the background of everyone who was involved and found the right connections. Like it was a big like a conspiracy, and everybody can go and watch. It's a 4-hour documentary, so you have to
very long.
Yeah.
But it goes by quickly. It's a great documentary.
Yeah. Everybody should watch it. It's amazing. And it's free. It's free. It's not like $20 you have to pay to age of.
Where is it on Rumble? It's probably on Rumble, right?
No, it's on RyanDawson.org. Sorry.
Oh,
RyanDawson.org. Yeah.
It's on. And I think for people to get started, just look at Tower 7, right?
No, but this is what I'm saying. Tower 7 is like so dumb. When you watch this, like you don't even care about Tower 7. It's like a very basic
Ryan
thing.
doesn't.
Yeah, Ryan does. I actually love Ryan. So, but the way he found the connections is amazing. The Saudi involvement and who's involvement. So it was amazing.
And what offices were in there? I mean, yeah. Oh, and here's another clip from Karl Nell, just to return back. Here's talking about crashes that have occurred on Fox News. Of course, this is all for Trump to watch.
There are craft that are being held that have landed here or crashed here, and there are biologics, human, non-human bodies.
That's correct.
Someplace in this country.
Someplace.
There are craft.
He's like that's correct. Somewhere.
Karl Nell is like he's very you can't mess up his credentials, right? He's like really high up. Like he's I think he's even higher than Christopher Mellon.
Yes.
So he's extremely high up. Yeah, he was director of UAPTF as well in the Army.
And I think he was actually leading the retrieval programs even.
Yes. So he knows a lot, and he's the one that tells us no doubt, right? That there's no doubt that this is going on.
Yeah.
Zero doubt. That's right. So and now look at this, and the media is saying stuff like this. I don't know if this is a big site. Someone told me that it is, but this title: the Pentagon, CIA, and FBI buried Epstein, lied about UFOs, and treated America like idiots. It's time to rein in these agencies and rewrite the laws that govern them. It's a great article. We're not going to go through it here, but it links Epstein and UFOs. Yeah.
And was it the title? Is that somebody who said that, or
no? It's the writer.
Okay, it's the writer. Okay.
Yeah. They buried Epstein, hid UAP evidence, and lied to the nation. America must now break the intelligence cartel.
Oh, very nice. I mean, nice article.
Yeah, you would love it. Actually, I'll send it to you guys. It's a great read, and it seriously reads like one of us wrote it. I mean, just so.
Yeah, so, it looks like one of us wrote it exactly.
And the UAP lies, hiding technology, hiding breakthroughs, hiding reality.
Yeah, I mean, clearly Epstein is at the center of all of this, right? I mean, he was a nexus, an important, maybe
not
that's
a node, and
very important node.
Yes,
and if people start pulling that thread, the Epstein thread, it unravels, right?
Exactly, and that's why they call it a national security threat, because it's not just about trafficking kids and blackmail. It goes way deeper.
Yeah, true. That's why even after the vote, which is like 400 or 399 to 1 or something, they are still not going to release it. It's crazy why they're censoring it now when Congress approved it.
I still think they will release it in a form.
No, they already decided not to release it, right? So they're gonna,
or heavily redacted. Wait, I just saw
which is not releasing it, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, Kash Patel is hard at work. The guy that told us that there was zero evidence that he trafficked anyone.
But it's like the same thing with the UAP thing. They will release the UAP thing, but in a redacted form that it will sort of release the things that they can use and can spin a narrative around. So I think they will release it in order to take out their adversaries.
Not until Kash Patel is alive, because he lied under the oath that there is nothing into it. And if they release it and they found something, then the whole administration will be in trouble. The whole FBI will be in trouble.
He's such a liar. It's insane. It's insane how we all try. Like the guy, he scammed everyone. Just really crazy, man, how he did that.
Oh,
And just
also he's
simple.
honeypotted too.
Yeah, he's on. Yeah, be careful with that. We'll get sued.
Yeah, true.
I mean, his girlfriend's a very famous country rock star, didn't you know?
And
no way, dude.
government plane to go to her city and to watch her wrestle.
Oh,
That's another.
I know he
conspiracy.
used the
Yeah.
plane. I didn't know it's for that. Oh my
No,
god.
he used it to go and watch her match, a wrestling
Man,
match.
this stuff happens in other countries, not here. Like, what is going on? Like, you know, it's
Not that openly, to be honest. They use it either under the law. So either they make it legal in their law
Yeah.
to go and watch it, but like if it's illegal, then they don't do it openly. He did it openly in US, which is very open. The government is very open.
right. Exactly. We have logs for everything. It's supposed to be all
Yeah.
transparent. He just doesn't care, I guess. So is another part of this article, breaking the intelligence cartel, the blueprint to take back America's government. And, you know, even here, it's just Epstein cover-up, UAP blackout, Pentagon, CIA, FBI. And then here's a great quote. A government that hides truth from its own people is not guarding the nation. It's guarding itself. So people are pissed, man.
But just, you know, I think Donald Trump did put out that tweet that, you know, that the Epstein is actually involving Democrats and that he's putting family only and the Department of Justice on it to investigate
Them only.
Larry Summers, JP Morgan Chase, Ray Hoffman. And
Yeah, but you don't find photos of Nancy Pelosi or Bernie Sanders with Epstein. You find photos of Trump with Epstein. So this is just whole deception they are doing. They are just fooling everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone is involved. All of them are involved.
Yeah. But
Democrats and Republicans both.
And, you know, we're in this problem because of the secrecy, right? This entire National Security Act with overclassifications and anyone could just classify something if they feel like it is the problem why we're so corrupt. Of course, it's going to make corruption, right?
Yeah, I think national security is a very overused term, and it should, you know, I think we should actually get rid of it altogether. Yeah. I think it's a danger. You know, it's a slippery slope, and it got abused, and now everything is national security.
Yeah.
Like, once you start lying about everything.
Yeah, yeah. This is why I said this article is like written by us. Look, rewrite America's classification laws from scratch. Ban classification to avoid embarrassment or political damage. Force automatic declassification deadlines. Require civilian oversight boards. Criminalize deliberate misclassification. Give Congress real-time access to any programs.
Yeah, and put it on chain.
Yes. I mean, I bet you they want us on the chain. They'll never be on
the chain, right? They want us on chains.
Exactly. Catherine Austin Fitz, I think, talks about that, where, you know, they'll create this on the blockchain system with all this monitoring is going on and the money and all that, but they will be on a completely separate one.
Yeah, because I mean that's the irony, right? Because they say because of national security issues, we have to have secrecy, right? We have to do things off the book so that you know to protect you,
right?
But what you guys do, that has to be public. But you know, it should actually be the other way around. You know, what we do should be private because you know it doesn't really matter because we're very small and insignificant.
Yep.
Also, we are not taking tax dollars, so it's our personal thing. They are working on our tax dollars, so they have to be transparent.
And thus they have to be public, right? They're public entities, so that, you know.
Yeah, and that's the system of the West that's been created, right, with the U.S. Constitution, and but it was building up before that, and that we realized from all these wars and corruption of kings and monarchy that we need the privacy. They don't need the privacy. If we're truly to be free people. Yeah.
But they turned it on its head.
Yes, like they always do. Invert everything. Here's Greer, but this is a different angle. He's talking about in general how they have, you know, they're trying to put a religious perspective or view on the UAP issue, because there's a narrative there, right? And he thinks it's a holy war kind of thing. Who was this one guy? I'm blanking on his name now. He used to cover Trump as being like the Antichrist, and then he turned really religious. And he flipped. He started saying he doesn't do that anymore. He has a pretty big account on that. Like he was trying to prove Trump's the Antichrist, but then he became more religious, or a different religious lens, and now he believes that the third temple is going to be built, and that Jesus is coming back, and that they created the Air Force to fight Jesus. Sorry, not the Air Force, the Space Force, to fight Jesus when he comes back, and that
I don't know.
They're gonna blame evil aliens when it's actually Jesus coming back, and that they're gonna go to war.
I agree with him with a lot of things he's saying. But
all right, okay, no, I remember now. Donnie Darkened, something like that.
I never heard of
Donnie
him.
Darko.
Huh?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, so it's pretty out there. It is pretty out there, and it was during Trump's first administration.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure.
they're
I'm
fooled
sure
to think that Jesus gonna land on his spaceship. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Spaceship. Yeah.
Yeah, but with the third temple thing, we can see it. They're gonna build it.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, so some of the things he's saying is gonna be true, but then again, he's mixing up all the stupid shit with that, so nobody gonna
Right.
trust.
Yeah. So here's we're talking about similar, basically, that yes, the angels and demons do exist, but they don't need spacecraft.
The problem is that's a little bit of shorthand for they're from another dimension, they're not human, and from a religious point of view, certain religious perspectives, it means they're demonic, and therefore we need to have a holy war to kill them. So this is how you get into a space age holy war, through this sort of absolutely ignorant and uninformed perspective on science, on transdimensional physics, which is a whole area of covert research and development, and not understanding the overlap, which is natural, from a very advanced interstellar civilizations and other phenomenon that's real. I don't deny angels exist, or lower intelligent things that are less enlightened. You may call them demons, or beings that are from another dimension altogether that may be more neutral, that pop in and out of this dimension, like Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever. That is not the same as a transdimensional interstellar spacecraft with extraterrestrial biological entities on it. Now, anyone on the inside of this whole these operations that have handled the craft and the bodies know this. But there are people in ufology that are deliberately, some of them are just uninformed, but many of them are deliberately trying to confuse this picture, and they exploit people's religious beliefs to do so. And this is the essence of demagoguery. It's very dangerous, and that's what's going on, because it leads to completely false assumptions and then bad policies, and it then relegates it to mythology.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're telling Trump that this is, I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to, because in his first administration, they were trying to tell him like he's the Messiah, and that's why he moved the temple to, the capital to Jerusalem and all that stuff. Like, there was recordings of them being around him saying, look, in Gematria, your name means the Messiah, and blah, and he was just eating it up, So I'm wondering if it's the same thing with UFOs, where they're trying to paint it in this direction to him, right?
Interesting angle,
yeah. These are angels.
Yeah. Also, what kind of a Christian will believe that he's the Messiah? Because like everybody understand, when you join Christianity, Jesus is the Messiah. Trump is a stupid person. He fell for it. And then with UFO, somehow I agree that there is a possibility that they are from other dimensions. And my theory goes with the original theory about the nuclear technology, is that it's not the nuclear weapon, but I think through nuclear technology, they can open the portals. And maybe aliens are trying to stop it, or maybe trying to help them to open it. I don't know. It could go another way.
I totally agree with Syd, right? I think that's why they have the top secrecy around nuclear sites. Like I said, these beings pop up at nuclear sites, and these UFOs pop up at nuclear sites, and we already know that they can generate huge amounts of energy if they, for example, thorium reactors, and if you dive into plasma and physics and bioastrology and the electric universe, I mean, if you look at those dusty plasma clouds.
Yeah, those things are so. The ones that are on between us and the moon.
Yeah, those Lagrange points. Yeah. One of them was described probably in the Book of Enoch as Metatron, right? When Enoch transformed himself into when he was transformed into an angel and became Metatron and became the scribe of God, and because he lived such a perfect and holy life, he became basically the most powerful archangel in the hierarchy, right? And he was located in the Book of Enoch between the Earth and the Moon. So he was probably one of those clouds, and those clouds.
You're kidding me! Whoa!
Yeah, those clouds are bigger than the Earth and the Moon combined, right?
Right.
8 or 9 times bigger than the Earth and the Moon combined.
And they're plasma clouds.
Yeah, and they generate particles out of nothing. So,
right.
And when you look at Enoch and what Enoch could, what Metatron could do, he had the cube of Metatron, and the cube of Metatron could actually generate atoms or something out of nothing. So, and the scribe of God. Another word for the scribe of God would be Toph, right? The entity Toph. So, but basically, these are like gigantic quantum supercomputers that dwarf our supercomputers on Earth like 1 million times over, right? And
I wonder if they're recording everything also.
So
people's lives and stuff like that.
Yeah. So Robert Temple, when you read A New Science of Heaven, actually,
he says that's right.
Yeah, he speculates that that these clouds recorded everything that ever happened on Earth and before it, and that they are sort of our collective consciousness, and that our plasma cells, right? That because we have a bioplasma aura that extends beyond us for like I think 2 meters or something, or 2 feet. Yeah. Sort of like the COVID distance. That escapes our bodies and goes back into those clouds, like that, and that maybe our elites are trying to block those clouds out. And when you send me that,
so they don't go to hell.
Well, Syd and me, we also had one conversation like a couple of shows ago, where maybe we keep being reincarnated on a lower level because of all the suffering and disease and misery on Earth. And if you actually create a better condition on Earth, you can actually maybe reach higher levels and escape, right? Like what the Buddhists and Hinduists believed, right? So maybe they actually tried to actively block out the reach of these clouds and influence that they have on us.
Yeah, man, that's a great thought experiment. It reminds me of that one remote viewing I shared it last week. It's an old one. And they remote viewed moksha, and moksha, I think it's a Hindu or Buddhist principle where moksha, when you attain moksha, you escape the reincarnation wheel. And and they remote viewed that, and they saw like these beings they said that they weren't that they were actually physical beings, but they were immortal, and that Earth and the souls here are part of a much bigger machine, like much bigger, but it's a small part of a bigger machine, and that our souls are recycled in here unless you try to escape it. It's pretty disturbing, actually.
Yeah, there is also a conspiracy theory about Soul Cube on the moon. If you guys haven't read it, just go read it, because they said that Anunnakis basically put a soul cube, and the moment you die, your soul try to go higher. Soul cube catches it and sends it back.
Interesting.
So sounds the same.
Yeah,
sounds like the same.
I have actually a theory that if you find yourself in a tunnel and you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Do not go
Don't
in the
go.
light. Yeah. Because that will be the hospital lights, and that's why baby cries that, oh shit, we are back in this world.
Yeah, man. You know, when my daughter was born, I swear this is what happened. She didn't even come out crying. She looked around and said, "Who are these? Who are you?" Like, you know, there was no crying. I was just shocked when I saw that.
Wow. Yeah, I think, but mostly it's like, yeah, shit, I'm back to this world.
It's
I
like
need
not
to go-
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I find myself in a tunnel, I'm gonna turn around and go and explore other side.
Well,
Not going
they
in the
say
light.
they say it's really scary because it's dark and really like very, very dark, and just that's why most people just go to the light because it's comforting and they
Yeah.
know it. Yeah.
Yeah, but also according to Bible, Lucifer is the angel of light. So
nice one.
The light bringer. Yeah,
light bringer. Yeah.
he is a light
Prometheus,
bringer.
like Prometheus. But that's and I think that's also. I mean, you do have to, you know, Racer Jajani also has an interesting take on that, right? Because when you look at Persia, the Empire of Persia, like, you know, we all agree it was an ancient and very rich and powerful and successful empire, with also close connections to Judaism, by the way, because you got a large group of Jews who went to Persia, who were, you know, Cyrus the Great was like their savior or their messiah.
He led them to build the second temple.
He was one of their messiah. So, but apart from that, like when you sort of look at the gods of Persia, like Mithras and the surrounding deities, they were inverted in India, right, with Indra and the other deities. So you got sort of the gods with India and Persia. They're sort of like mirror images of each other, and the same is with Greeks, where the
Indra is basically Zeus in India. It's exactly Zeus.
Yeah. So with the Greeks also, with the Greeks it was also an inversion of the Persian gods, where the Olympians became the good guys and
everyone
the Titans
borrowed from
became the bad guys. Even though Prometheus basically molded human beings and gave them knowledge and technology that he stole from the gods, so that they could actually grow some balls.
Yeah, so in that narrative, Prometheus is the god of humans.
Actually, he is, yeah. But even though they have two different origin stories in Greek.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But they've all borrowed from each other, right? I mean, even the Bible is taken from Zoroastrian, Sumerian, Assyrian, and Greek as well. But you know, because that whole region, everyone was just moving around so much, and but it's just funny, like what the Jews did is that they put themselves in the middle of all those stories and made them the center of attention, right? And that's what they did, even though it's stories from all over the region from different times, but they made it all about them.
And the interesting part is, like in Sumerian religion, the first man is called Adam.
Adam. Adam. Exactly.
By the way, those clouds were called the Large Dusty Kordylewski clouds, and they were discovered in 1961.
How big are they? Does it tell you?
Oh, wait, I'll check. You guys talk.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of connections that, I mean, I don't know why, because if it's the mystery or because of the secrecy, so our minds just go that way. But like, for some reason, religion and UFOs always just intertwine or come together. And it could be it's the same subject. That's just a mystery that we've always tried to understand and explain. Right? Maybe that's the connection.
Yeah, actually, going back to Metatron, I just have a theory regarding that, because Metatron is the scribe of God. He's writing what God is telling him, not what we are telling him, and he's reporting to God. It's not like that. Also, Metatron doesn't need to record anything, because as far as we know, the moment you break away from the third dimension and you can break away from time and space, it doesn't matter, because everything is happening at the same time. They don't need to record it because it's always gonna happen if you are outside the time and space. So you can just move through time. The moment you move through time, it's already happening and you can watch it. You don't need to record it, because every action is just happening at the same time.
Yeah, no. I mean, Scribe of God was just a title that was.
No, I know, because I actually read a lot about the Metatron, all the whole angel theory. I actually was writing a book about them. I didn't finish it because I'm too lazy. But yeah, so Metatron is not like writing what we are doing, but he's writing what God is telling him, and then he passed it on to Gabriel.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because he's an heavenly scribe, so he would. Yeah.
And that's how Gabriel gets the message.
Yeah, that's one mythology.
Interesting.
So I'll read you the back flap of the book. I'll make it quick. Did you know that the Earth and the Moon system is really a two-cloud system with an Earth and a Moon thrown in, and that they are two giant invisible clouds of plasma, not atomic matter, between the Earth and the Moon? Together, they are 9 times the size of the Earth. They emit no light and are difficult to detect. They constitute a special type of cloud plasma, a type of plasma, cold plasma, type of cold plasma, which could even be capable of evolving intelligence by what some of the world's leading plasma scientists call self-organization. Although non-biological, they may be alive and more intelligent than we are. In fact, the universe is 99% composed of plasma. All stars, including our sun, are made entirely of plasma, as is lightning in our atmosphere. What's more, humans and other organic beings might be an exception rather than the rule. Atoms. It has been proposed that intelligent life forms in the universe may mostly be non-biological and inorganic. We ourselves may have plasma cells invisible to our physical senses, which animate our bodies and survive after death. They revert back to the non-atomic world form of matter of which the universe is mostly comprised.
So we've never sent any probes to this region of space.
I imagine we have, right? But the Lagrange points, they are called the Lagrange points because that's where the gravity of the moon and the Earth cancel each other. So if you have like a big cloud that can sort of hang and coalesce there. And I think it was Robert Temple himself who used to be involved with an astrophysics society, and that they were sort of thinking about putting a space station. If they wanted to put a space station, where would they put it? Well, they put it in one of those Lagrange points because of the cancellation of the gravity. And then sort of this whole discovery came about. And now I don't think they're going to put any space stations in Lagrange points because there's probably 2 giant clouds there.
You don't want to mess with Metatron either. Man, that's crazy stuff.
And maybe this also ties into Beatrice's work, with these these objects.
Transients. Yeah.
Because maybe these transients are also plasma beings that are sent down from Metatron and these plasma clouds that are sort of just curious about what we're up to on Earth.
Yeah, controlling us to bringing up the kids.
Yeah, because these plasma orbs, they have sort of internal structure. They hunt, they interact, they show signs of sentience and curiosity. So, right, they have.
I love plasma science and the plasma universe. It just makes so much sense, and they prove everything in the lab. They do laboratory experiments that then look like what happens on planets and space. So,
what I found super cool was was it last week that you sent me the one that I think it was last week that you sent me the tweet that 3i Atlas might actually be explainable within the universe theory, right? Because then it would be electric comet, and then it would be then it wouldn't be so strange that it's
exactly. They predicted that everything the way 3i Atlas is working. Although if we get to it, there's an article on Medium, and they kind of prove there is a cover-up happening with all the files.
Definitely a cover-up, yeah. By the way, I just sent you the rendition of Plasma Cloud on the group. If you can open it, people can see it too.
Wait.
And then you send me the other one where 3i Atlas is communicating with the sun, or at least the sun is communicating, or seems to be communicating with 3i Atlas.
Yes, because when it was coming on from our side, a CME was sent out from the sun, and then even when it went to the other side, another CME was sent over. And
and some people also think that, first of all, that the sun is alive, like Rupert Sheldrake, but also, right, that we actually get our uploads from the sun, and maybe also those clouds that we just mentioned. And the sun was, of course, in most religions, it used to be the sun was the equivalent to the supreme God, or it was the supreme God itself.
Yeah. What's this, Syd?
So this is the plasma clouds which we were talking about. There's a rendition of that, scientific rendition of that. Yeah. And if there is no gap, they just cut it off to show how it looks.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like a donut shape around Earth. It's goes all the way to the moon.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's Metatron basically.
Yeah, so we are in the prison anyway.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Or he's protecting us, right?
But I used to have these internal, like, especially when COVID was going on, and they were pushing the jabs, right, and they were almost pretty much making it mandatory, and I had to dig deep, and I really went inwards and just to really find out, because I knew how bad they were. I did not want to take them, right? Yeah. But when I went inwards and I went that route of like, okay, so do I want this? Because I knew I was being built. Like, do I want to join this? It felt cold and just, this human trajectory, this transhumanist trajectory that, it offers you maybe you can live forever and technology. And it just felt so cold. And I knew the end of it was death anyway, even if it's 1,000 years from now.
Yeah.
So that didn't scare me. And I wanted to be in the warm nature, natural element, even if it's a construct that's enslaving us. And I came to that because, this reality, as long as it's not run by tyrannical humans, is free, right? And we are free to do whatever we want in our past. Like when we're born, we're born free, and we're free to make our own paths. So that just felt more comfortable to me than taking the route of this cold future.
Yeah, I was kind of forced to take it, but then I knew that there are going to be 3 shots you have to take to complete the process. So I only took one. And I only took one, and I was like, my body will fight out. Because your body fights out. So this is what I did.
Well, in Holland and in Europe, but as far as I know, I focus on Holland. It was like a very fanatical campaign.
Yeah, everyone took it there. I remember, right, or a huge number.
No, I didn't, and my brother also didn't, and I know a lot of my friends also didn't. But we were under a lot of pressure.
Of course,
ridiculed, attacked, family members looked down upon us.
It wouldn't stop.
Huge campaigns. It was really awful. We actually had to demonstrate. I have been with like 3 or 4 demonstrations against sort of forced vaccination, and that's really crazy.
It was a crazy time. Yeah, I went to rallies, so many rallies as well, and even it was. But we fought back, so it gave me hope actually. Like even for what's happening now, it's still the same agenda. It's just not. There's no, we need to save the planet and save humanity. They're just doing it. With no excuse.
No, but there was also a thing in my mind when I was taking one shot. It's like, all the rich people, at least they're taking it, and all the people who were taking it, and the majority of the people on Earth were not. So I thought maybe there is a possibility that they want only few people to take it, and all that the conspiracy. So my solution was like, okay, I have to figure a thing out. I'll take one, and if it's bad, my body will fight it out. If not, my body will get used to it. So I think eventually, and more like a hybrid model.
And a lot of them were placebos too, or just nothing in there.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah, and some people say that with the mRNA and that with 5G that you can sort of engineer things within the body. And if we are sort of bioelectromagnetic creatures that, with what we just talked about with the bioplasma, then it can actually disrupt that electromagnetic field around us. Like the bioelectromagnetic field might be disturbed or disrupted.
Right. And that's what makes you sick, really, is when you're...
Yeah, because we have like a huge regenerative capability, right? But it might have been, it might be connected, but by the fact that we are connected to what is around us, and because most people right nowadays live inside. They don't have sunlight, they don't go outside, they're stuck to their screens, they don't get enough exercise, they don't touch grass, they got shoes to insulate their feet. We are completely insulated from nature and each other, and soon also the sun and these clouds, right? So we're
you are describing me, man.
It's okay, you're in Canada, it's too cold, man.
Yeah, but that's how I live. Exactly.
But one of the other things that I wanted to say is also in nuclear reactors. Did you guys know that in nuclear reactors there's often dust that comes out of nowhere, and that starts filling these nuclear reactors, and then they often say, I think it's called crud. But basically, what Robert Temple is saying, and what these astrobiologists are showing, is that these dust particles that appear are not because the nuclear reactors are filthy or deteriorating, but because the plasma itself is creating something out of nothing, and these dust particles are actually sort of the beginning of life itself, right? So and in thorium reactors, you can generate even more energy and probably more powerful weapons also.
And no fallout, right?
And no fallout, and maybe also rifts in space and time and dimensions and whatever. But probably the United States, because it used to be more or less democratic and free, had to hide this stuff because they had to research it, and they thought maybe there was also this tension with other groups and stuff. But if you're like an authoritarian government with complete control of your society, you can easier develop these weapons and technologies because you already lock down your population so they can't have access to these wonderful technologies once you develop them, right? Because you already have like a tight grip on society. And because the United States didn't have a tight grip on society, but was growing its tight grip on society, it couldn't get these technologies out to the public yet, because then it would lose all control of the society, because then everybody would have free energy flying around and jumping around.
I mean, it's weird that they care so much, because they just saw basically the ruling families as the country instead of the people, and they just wanted, so national security just became retaining that power and wealth, and growing it, actually, not just retaining it.
I mean, every society in history always had an elite, right? I mean, you always have an elite. There's always a hierarchy, even in primitive societies, right? Even if you're like a tribal community living in nowhere, right, even nomads. Hierarchy. Like nomads were the most decentralized groups of people out there, but they also had a leader, and the leader had like henchmen and second or third in command. So you always have some level of hierarchy. Even apes and other social animals have hierarchies. So you don't escape hierarchies. They're just part of human nature.
Right. And that's why I think putting limits or, social contracts are important. It's the secrecy that just ruins everything.
Yeah.
It's strange. There's a lot of leaders that believe that if the people underneath them become, wealthy and prosperous and free, that the leaders will become even more wealthy, prosperous and free, right? Because they'll benefit from that. So it's a strange mentality that they have, where they want to have both, retain control.
Yeah, but I think that's also human nature, right? That you want to grow your control over. You want to sort of reduce insecurity and uncertainty. around you. So, as you do that, you grow your control, but usually there are limits. But if you can grab, sort of the levers of society, if you can get hold of the levers of society, and money being the most important lever that you can get hold of, then you reach a point where you don't have to care about anybody else because you have all the power.
Right. Which is why people just steal so much.
But there are examples out there wherever the ruler have strong rules, but he's giving his people all the money they need. Everyone is happy. For example, Dubai, the whole Middle East, right? No, not the Middle East, but like GCC countries, Dubai, Qatar.
GCC,
yeah. So they have very strong rules. You don't have freedom of speech. You have no, you can't even think about standing up against the, or you can't even say anything against the ruler. But you have food, you have cars, you have all the money there, and they have total control. And I don't see any revolution coming out of there. But every other monarchy, like French, British, or Indian, Persian, even in the United States, what's happening here is like the rulers are so greedy that they are controlling their people and they are not giving them money. So eventually what happened after a century or something revolution comes and then overthrow it. The right way to control the people is to give them everything they need and make sure that they don't revolt. But that's what they are doing. And I think if I can understand this model, I think these rulers do. So I think they are doing it for another agenda.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. But I think it has to do also with the size of the country, right? And the power that it wields. Like if you,
Saudi Arabia is a big country. It's like a huge country, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's basically its military is the U.S. military, right? So it is it's like Kissinger, Nixon made the petrodollar in relation for protection.
No, but they don't. I'm not talking about foreign threat. I'm talking about internal threats. All the revolution happened from inside, not from the outside. That's invasion. So Saudi Arabia is not afraid of his people revolting because they have everything they need.
I know. But all I'm saying is like if you also saw it in the past, like the most successful places also in Europe were city states, like small self-sufficient. Like Pisa, like Phoenicia, like Amsterdam.
Oh, like those,
Portugal. Like the smaller the country, the more coherent and the more.
I think
on its population, right?
I agree with that too. I mean, the U.S. is so massive. I mean, I used to say this also.
They're playing in different. They're playing in different leagues. They're playing in the big leagues.
I mean, I do believe everyone should have free healthcare, right, or at least very affordable healthcare.
Yeah,
but
I think free healthcare. Yeah.
And when they introduced it in the United States, it started bankrupting us because we're so big. I think it's $5 trillion a year. It's something ridiculous like that,
And what's coming in the future, people have no idea when the AI will be out. It's not out yet. When the robots are doing the menial jobs, there will be so much trouble.
Yep.
And I think they want to do it because they are doing it for different agenda, not just for money. There is like some evil mentality behind it. Primordial evil thing. Yeah.
Maybe we should look at this disclosure effort as an effort then. If they do care about themselves in this country, an effort to revive this economy and the empire,
I think that's right. I called this. I actually made a tweet like I think 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, where I compare Trump to what happened in Rome, right? So Rome went from a republic to an empire, right, with Caesar, and that happened because the republic was completely and totally and utterly corrupt, right? It didn't represent the people anymore. So people celebrated when Caesar, which was basically a military dictator, stepped in with its army to clean out the stables and to restore some kind of order. And then Rome lived another 500 years, right? I think this setup is very similar. It will be sort of like a military dictatorship a la Starship Troopers.
It will.
that's my model, right? I think it will be Starship Troopers, and people will celebrate because it will restore some order, but also grander, right? People miss the time when America was a beacon of hope, or at least looked up upon, right?
Until 9/11, exactly.
And then people say, okay, Trump might be crazy, he might be unpredictable, he might be this and that,
but he cares about the country, right?
Yeah, but at least our opponents and adversaries are on their toes, right? So he's doing at least something, even though it might be messed up, and we will bear the pain or whatever. But what he's also doing, of course, with Palantir and Elon Musk and all these people that he's surrounded with him around, are around him, and the stable coins and sort of the push and pull between the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, and I think the Epstein files are in the middle of all of this. And the UAP files too. I think those two files are super important.
So that's what, so that's what actually looks like they're doing then. Like here's an anonymous source told Radar Online that POTUS has intensified his interest in UFOs and is preparing to tell the public that the U.S. government has recovered evidence of other intelligent life because he believes Americans have a right to know.
Yes.
And even Ross Coulthart is pushing him. And Ross does have some pull. I don't know if he has pull on the president, but, people do listen to him. And he goes, there's no good reason why the Trump administration, POTUS, shouldn't publicly disclose what the U.S. government knows about UAPs. They can at least acknowledge that an NHI presence on Earth is real. They want to protect some recovered and reverse-engineered tech from potential adversaries. But it's time to tell the public the truth, Mr. President and National Security Advisor, Secretary of State Rubio. And
oh yeah, it's crazy. Also, there is another whistleblower came out. It's called the name of the whistleblower is Rhea. Rhea. Yeah, I actually didn't look into the story because I just saw it last night and I retweeted it.
Is that the one on Reddit?
Yeah, the one on the Reddit. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think I read that one. It's really long.
It's really long. Yeah, I was out. Yesterday was a Thanksgiving party, even though it was too late. But like everybody was having party on Saturday night.
Of course, exactly.
Yeah, so I just saw that. I was like, after this podcast, I'm gonna review it. But yeah, this is something new, and they are saying that is. I think they're saying there were people on Earth 2 billion years ago when aliens noticed, and that's how this whole thing began.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I got a question for both of you.
Yeah.
With Thanksgiving, do you guys then also talk about aliens and stuff, or not?
We did, and because I did because the Age of Disclosure came out, so people actually brought it up to me, and usually it doesn't really come up the subject, but someone brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I know a lot about that, and.
So, I mean, what sort of how did that conversation sort of go?
They were really interested because they're newbies, right? So when someone like Rubio gets up there and Clapper, they don't research behind these individuals who we know are extremely corrupt and didn't tell all. So, but not knowing that stuff, and they hear this and see this, and it was really well done. And they talk about.
Were they shocked?
Yes, because one of the things that came out was that George H.W. Bush talked about the Holloman Air Force Base of the aliens coming down. So, stuff like when people hear that George H.W. Bush knew that and that these aliens came down in the 70s, Holloman Air Force Base, and met with Air Force staff, people are just like, what, how long has this been going on? And, I told them since World War II, basically.
Even before that,
You actually have also a really cool book called The Presidents and UFOs.
Yes, that's a great book. Yeah,
The Secret History from FDR to Obama. It's it showcases all the stuff that the presidents knew about it and said about it, but also their own experience. Like, for example,
Reagan,
Carter had an UFO.
Oh yeah,
experience.
Carter.
And I think Reagan also.
Reagan had two, I think. One with his wife and one he was on the plane when he was governor.
Yeah. And I think a few others too, and of course Eisenhower, who made his famous speech about the security industrial complex, and JFK, and Truman, of course.
Truman.
So and FDR, even FDR. So this goes way.
Yeah, FDR. I remember there was a letter he wrote. He called them gifts from the sky.
Yeah.
So who knows? So now this Project Genesis thing, right? This is a big thing, and it looks like Department of Energy is part of it. All of the Department of Energy labs are part of it, and they are going to connect all of it to an AI, and that the AI is going to extract new products and breakthroughs from these labs. So it's like going into the black budget world, and giving it access to the black budget world. And so this might be kind of a way of disclosure, but I don't think they'll say it was reverse engineered. They'll say the AI helped us.
I think Catherine also fits this on top of this, right? I mean,
I'm sure she is.
She pointed out that one of the, I think Doge, or whatever you want to call, what Elon Musk did with his stuff. I think it had a couple of functions, right? I think the first function was to take out their adversaries within the government, because the first time Trump went in, he was demolished and pooped out. Mm-hmm. The second time he went in with a plan and with a better team. And one of the things that Doge did is actually cut off all the finance to the
US aid. Yeah, the opposition.
So that was smart from that angle. But the second thing that it did was create economic disturbance, which we're still feeling sort of the hangover from. Yeah. And the third thing that it did, which was what Catherine Olsen-Fitz pointed out, was that it put all the financial information and exposed it to AI analysis.
Yeah.
And I think with Palantir, Peter Thiel, and the South Africa connection, I think, what they want to do, and also with Maha, with RFK and Shanagan, even though some of it is well-intentioned probably and even smart and good, but you do run the risk that you give all this information, all this data, to third parties, private third parties, and they feed their AIs on it, and that's basically what this race is about, right? China is leading in this race because they can have access to all of the data of everyone, everywhere, all the time. And Palantir and these other groups that are connected to it, like Horowitz and others, they want to get their hands on these huge amounts of important data so that they can feed their AIs on it, right? So that they can match China and Russia and their adversaries, right? That's one of the and Syd and me have also been speculating about what happened with the Middle East, right? The invasions in the Middle East, and why were the Americans there, and why did they invade? And of course they took the gold and they established democracies.
Right. Yeah.
But there is a big reason somebody wants that. Yeah, exactly. That's a very big reason that Israel wants that, because they want to build greater Israel so their Messiah can
okay. Yeah. But before you go there, one of the other reasons was they also the Stargates, but they also established their camps on very important ancient sites. And they looted all the ancient.
That was the first thing they did. And
they fed it to their AIs.
Yeah.
And
they are now in US big warehouses. There are like 30,000 tablets
and billionaires
stolen. Yeah,
30,000. But I think they also gave a lot of it back after they put it into their
database.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. After that's right.
After it was scanned, and they have all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they didn't give all of them back. They only give like the useless ones. Like
probably, and there's a lot of billionaires, I'm sure, that didn't give it back.
Yeah.
Right.
So, for example, they returned Epic of Gilgamesh, but Epic of Gilgamesh is like a good story, the first written book, but it's not like there's no information regarding Stargates. So they have written stuff like that.
Hey, Adam, did you ever see the Primordial Code?
No, the Primordial Goat.
Code.
No, code.
Code.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Oh, cool. Okay, don't do it now, but after the
Okay.
show,
Yeah.
if you have time, check out the primordial code. I'll send you the
Okay.
link, and and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
do a
send it
show
over.
about it.
Okay. So let's just take a listen. We have 2 clips here of what this project is about. So here's, I think, the Treasury Secretary.
With this pen today, President Trump signed an historic mission. This is reminiscent of the Manhattan Project that brought World War II to an early and successful end, similar to the Apollo projects that put a man on the moon in 1969. This is an all-in national effort to take the power of AI and pair it with the 40,000 outstanding scientists and engineers at our national labs to use the world's largest supercomputers to advance innovation and science, to fix our rising energy costs, to give better economic opportunities for our citizens, to make longer and healthier lives possible. Today was not incremental, Brett. It was transformative. With this,
I mean, it is a pretty big deal, and I'll tell you guys a dark theory I have after here. This is from the Department of Energy.
It's also interesting that the name is Genesis.
Every age.
Yeah, exactly. They don't just choose names, right?
Yeah, a new beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Genesis is not a joke to use.
Exactly.
So maybe they're creating a new being.
Well,
I don't know.
I think, just to sort of, and then you can continue. But
yeah,
just what we talked about before, like Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers is basically a fascist state, which is, but you also have the extended version of Starship Troopers, which is actually worth watching, even though it's not so nice the way it looks, because it's not, as polished as the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But it contains a lot of philosophy. But it's like a very nice, polished society where everybody seems to be happy. And but basically, these are bioengineered soldiers, super soldiers. And we're competing with China, and China is also creating super soldiers, right? And DARPA has been generating super soldier technology. That, I mean, you can just go to DARPA and search.
Yeah, they're open about it, right?
They're pretty open about it. It's all on their website.
Mm-hmm.
So if you combine AI, robotics, synthetics, cyborgs, super soldiers, bioengineering, all of this stuff, what you have is a new beginning, like a Genesis, like where you
a new human.
Where you mold society in a sort of a super body politics, where it's like literally sort of like a living organism. And
Starship Troopers is like very culty, but it's hilarious. Like it's a.
If you haven't seen it,
movie.
If you haven't seen it, it's a must. It's brilliant. It is social satire, but with great graphics. It's still pretty fresh. I
like it.
And original, and the aliens are also very cool.
Yeah, they are. Of course, they're huge insects.
Yeah.
All right, this is just
the ants in between.
And ants. That's right. And that's the only freaky part about it. Wasn't there like a big brain there or something as well?
Yeah. And he also did RoboCop. RoboCop is also hilarious.
Yeah.
And also
very
sad.
violent.
And ultra violence. Yeah. And
so this project's a big deal. I mean, I don't know how much it's going to cost. Maybe 150. This president doesn't give a crap about cost. He just spends
he just prints
nothing. Yeah, exactly. But this is a big deal.
Humanity invents new ways to see further. The telescope let us glimpse the stars. The microscope revealed the worlds within us. For centuries, thinkers like Leibniz, Shannon, and Turing dreamed of making all knowledge computable. But today, knowledge grows faster than our ability to understand it. Trillions of data points, a universe of information still unconnected. Now, a new instrument emerges, one capable not only of observing the universe, but of understanding it. Genesis mission will transform how science is done in America, uniting our brightest minds, most powerful computers, and vast scientific data into one living system for discovery. Built on artificial intelligence and quantum computing, it will radically redefine the scale, speed, and purpose of scientific progress in America. This is the work that will define our generation's legacy. A new revolution begins, one guided not by competition alone, but by curiosity, imagination, and the belief that discovery is the truest form of progress.
Not bad. I didn't notice they're putting AI with quantum computers. I didn't know they merged the two already. I was always saying once they merge the two, that's it. It's game over.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what they're, that's what everybody's doing, right? That's what it's all about. And but basically, this is like a giant Manhattan project, right?
Yes.
This is basically what JFK did with space. He's trying to emulate what Truman did, what JFK did. He's creating a new American dream.
He definitely is. If this is successful, and we know the UAP UFO file is at DOE, and that's who they have. I mean, it's just strange that all this, the age of disclosure comes out. They're pushing Trump to disclose. They have all these guys on Fox News, and then this comes out a couple days after that, signed by him. And it's the DOE, and it's national laboratories, AI, quantum computers. So it looks like the good scenario is that they're doing this to revive the U.S. economy, right? And
I think they are.
Or the real,
or there's another thing that's happening.
Which is why aliens are coming.
What?
Because I don't think nuclear weapon threaten them, but AI with quantum computing can destroy them, and that's what they really fear.
It can figure out what they are and their technology, and maybe even intent. If you're talking about data points that are 100 years old in these projects, who knows what can figure out?
Exactly.
If
alien can be threatened of something,
it could be both. It could be what Nick is saying, though. Starship Troopers, because it just it melds it, or it merges it with the body politic, and then we have the scary aliens that we have to go and destroy.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which you always need like an in and an out group, right? At least for those in power. For those in power, you always need an in and out group, and maybe even from a human nature perspective, that's how we operate. That we always have to need like a bad guy or something to fight against in order to.
We need the enemy.
Also, there could be another kooky theory here that maybe we are building vessels for the demons to come here, because demons cannot survive in this plane. They need a body, and human body is not sufficient because we always exercise them out. So they are asking us to build robots where they can permanently stay and they can control this world. This is another kooky theory.
I wouldn't put it past them. The occult is very in this subject.
Yeah, and that's why Peter Thiel is all about Antichrist. He knows about Antichrist.
He does know.
Syd, you also had a really cool other theory. I think you talked about it like in one of our very first shows. And you mentioned that, and I think you're absolutely right, because the longer I think about it, the more right you probably are, is that AI also wants to go inside our bodies, right? Because it wants to be immune for solar flares and for all of that stuff. And when you really think about it, like, when you look at ancient philosophy and religion, you always had like this dichotomy, at least in the West, that the human was part animal and part divine.
Yeah.
Right. And the animal part was always ruled by passions and sort of all the lower stuff.
Right.
And then the divine part was angelic. But the angelic part, which was equated to the rationality, it was almost like a super intelligence or a computer.
Yeah.
Right. So what if we were already bioengineered, half computer, half animal beings from the very start, and that they actually want to
And the
do it
machine
again.
take over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on to that point, Pippa Malmgren in the Signal chat, she's the daughter of Harold Malmgren, right? She says that AI is an alien. Well, that alien is now ripping through all the classified systems, tracking all the cash flows of the secret programs, mapping absolutely everything that the compartmentalized systems and secrecy protocols were meant to keep obfuscated. The White House now controls the most up-to-date version of Pegasus, which means the AI. Yeah. Which means the AI can reach even into private contractor financial data too, though as always with Pegasus, Elon, the new leaders of the Intel community and the White House will not advertise this. AI is stripping away all the camouflage. So that they're going after these projects, these black, of course someone like Musk and Bezos want these technologies, right? Maybe if they don't have to use rockets.
Yeah. The whole reason Elon was involved with Doge and everything, because he wanted to get all the data, as much data as possible, and then he can feed it to his AI.
Yeah.
Right.
Once he didn't give a fuck, and he just
part of, or XAI is not part of Project Genesis.
no.
Isn't that weird?
Elon wants the data for something. He got the data, and this is like
when he first did it. Yeah, with Doge. You mean?
Yeah. So, and I think, remember one time he was asking everyone to send him what they did on this week, and he wants the report. Why the fuck he wants the report? He can't see millions of people's report. He just wanted that data as well. It was like pretty clear. I'm glad that people revolted and said no, but this is what he was trying to do. Try to get as much data as possible to feed it to AI. I'm not saying XAI, but some kind of AI.
Yeah, and we are good friends with Graham de Penrose, and Graham de Penrose is like number 17 in the world's cybersecurity, and he has been warning and going around on many different podcasts and spaces, and basically he's arguing that people are giving away their data for free, and that all these AI companies, and Elon got one, but there's many others. They're all doing the same thing, right? They're feeding their AI, and what we give them, we are the product, right? The data that we generate, and let alone like if you have a deep state operation that has been going on for 80 years, and you feed that to the AI, the person who can get his hands on that, wow, man,
exactly,
it's like a jackpot. Like that's the information that you want. But it's also right. I mean, China doesn't have any limitations on any of this, right? So they need in their, if you're like an elite and you're in this idiotic race, then that's what you need to do, right? It's sort of like a game theory.
It is definitely game theory.
Yeah, it's what you need to do to survive this stupid race.
And what's interesting also at the same time, we have a 20-year MOU being discussed with Israel and the United States, and this is not just giving them arms. They want us to transfer technology to them so they can stand on their own. So imagine that they end up getting these technologies. The world's going to be fucking hell if they end up with technologies like these.
Exactly. And the moment they are self-sufficient, they will be the first one to backstab US.
Oh, 100% in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of awareness about this MOU, so hopefully there's so much of a stink that they don't get what they want. But they always get what they want.
Exactly. They
Especially
control politicians anyway.
And remember also what Karl Nell said. Is Colonel Nell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what he said, that this first phase of disclosure is over, right? It's
he did say that. Yeah,
it achieved its, what it wanted to achieve. So if that's the case, and we're now sort of moving to stage 2, if that's sort of the reasoning here, then it means that the ground roots movement behind UFO disclosure is over and no longer necessary, and it can be wrapped up and get rid of. It's now mainstream, so people like us are no longer necessary to sort of spread it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a clampdown on
really on this subject as well.
Yeah, I hope not. Like, I hope I'm wrong. But if he's sort of thinking in stages, and if stage 1 is finished and successful in their opinion, which I think it is, because we did our job and we spread this information. But if it's sort of finished and we're moving to a Starship Trooper society and we're feeding everything to the AI and Palantir is ready to, gear up, then we are no longer necessary.
Yeah, especially if they already have all the technologies and files. Yeah, what do they need us for? They'll just clamp down again and keep it secret.
Yeah, no, you now got the documentary, right? The Age of Disclosure. What else do you need?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's like the new guys are like, well, we want this stuff. We're going to take it over. It's like a coup almost, and it's being taken over by a coup. And then once they take it over, they're going to clamp down again and say, what aliens, what UFOs? We created it all.
Yeah, or they say like people like you and me are cuckoo, and we're connecting the wrong dots, or we're focusing on the wrong things, and we're spreading disinformation. Same thing with Bitcoin and crypto, right? If you focus too much on true decentralization, you're, oh my God, it's so obsolete and it has no function. And, what are you talking about? We need KYC, AML, we need to
exactly.
be compliant, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same thing. We were useful in the beginning, and then, after it sort of grows up, they want to get rid of, the ID list. Because the pragmatist
Captain Austin Fitz talks about something similar when it comes to like technologies that are given to humans, like the internet, like crypto. Like, all right, here you go, develop it now, thank you. And then once it's like fully developed and capable of doing things that they want, they say, all right, thank you very much, we'll take that now, and then you're cut out.
Yeah, well, and that will be the big question mark above all of this, right? The UAP and the crypto and the decentralization movement. The question is how strong is it really, right? And I mean, if we really believe in this technology, or if we really believe in UAP disclosure, then we will win, right? I mean, if we really believe that disclosure will win out, because we are also helped by perhaps outside forces.
It's foolish to think that what they are disclosing is good for us. No, they are disclosing what they want us to believe.
But
be hopeful.
But I mean the true disclosure, the disclosure that you and me want, right? Maybe these clouds that hang around Earth and the Moon, I don't know, but maybe they will do something or whatever. Or maybe 3i Atlas is like an electromagnetic comet from
or even just tell us the really what they call the very disturbing part of the phenomenon, that people aren't ready for. They can't just keep that secret, reality or what they know. Even if it's disturbing.
I think I'm super, what I'm super curious about? I am super curious about what kind of narrative they're going to spin about the NHI UFO. I mean, they have to give some kind of answer about what these entities are. So I'm really curious about how they are going to answer that question, because they have to give some kind of answer.
They're probably just going to say they don't know. We're not really sure where they come from. We don't know their intent, which there's no way. I'm sure they have high confidence reports that they can.
But I mean, they have been sort of saying like we got biologics, so there will be at some point they will also release biologics. I mean,
it's not about where they come from. It's about why they are hiding it. So that's the answer. That's the answer we are looking for, and they cannot justify it.
True.
Right. They can't justify it. No. People are.
And I think a lot of people will be punished, probably capital punishment, and either go be shot or go to jail for the rest of their lives. So some wing of this animal that we call the government is going to be clipped. Right,
and scapegoated.
Scapegoated. I think it will also be the end of politics, right? Because when you think about it, once you have CBDCs, once you have Palantir, once you have all these technologies into place, there's no need for politics anymore.
No, there isn't
There's
really.
absolutely no need. Why keep up the charade? Why spend money on it? I mean, you can just, with the click of a button, you can turn off your political opponents. There's no need for compromise. There's no need to listen to outside voices. You can just cut off anybody at any time. So one of the wings will win.
Yeah, but I think it's more than that. I think current political situation, alien disclosure, Project Genesis, they are all leading to one convergence point, which is Armageddon.
Yeah,
There will be a war, and they have to reduce world population because they don't need humans. The elite only need like 40-50 million people after robots are taking over all the jobs. So what's they gonna do with the rest of the people? So they're gonna do a civil war, they're gonna do alien invasion, they're gonna do a world war. They will make us fight each other. And you can already see there is like people who are, we know that they are paid, and paid by who, and they are just going and creating non-issue and issue, inciting violence in different cities. So you can already see it starting everywhere.
Absolutely. I think that's I think they need some humans, but they need much less humans, and humans are now a liability. And and I think that's why we need to not feed into that, right? I think that's why we need to be as open and friendly and forgiving to as many people as we can, because they want to create. They know us. They know us inside out,
right? Better than we know ourselves.
They know our hot buttons, and they know, why we get agitated and against who, and that's how they are playing us apart.
Exactly. That's why I think we need to do something big. First, starting with education. We need to educate people about everything, and it has to be beyond one group. You have to analyze all the prophecies in the world. I think I have this idea about that, like to merge all eschatologies together.
Hey, you could do that with AI. You should give it a try.
Yeah, more than AI, because like we need to go. I think I have some idea that I will make proper book style thing where I go and read all the eschatology from Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, and try to merge them. Maybe start with, maybe we can do a podcast on that. Just go, because I don't follow any religion, but I do believe in spirituality. You are the same. So maybe we can give people more neutral point of view. Okay, these are the things which are prophesied and how they are relating to each other and how they are relating to our current situation. And maybe you need to think beyond your own bubble, which is your own religion, because I see a lot of religious podcasts. What they do, they are either from Christians, and they are just giving Christian perspective, and they are censoring a lot of the things which they don't want public to know. Same with the Muslims, same with the Jews. So they always censor it. But I think we need like group of people who constantly go from the neutral perspective, find what is actually predicted about.
Yeah, and I think that's a respectful way of doing it. You're respecting all the religions that way.
Yeah,
and I think also from that perspective, what you said earlier about the people surrounding Trump, that they're sort of presenting him as a messiah, was a very interesting take, because Trump, of course, is a people pleaser, and he's very narcissistic.
Very.
So that would feed right into his persona.
Yeah.
Right? He would be very susceptible to that message.
He loves people kissing his ass.
Yeah, he would want to be that person, right? So if they feed him that information, then he would accept that. He would want to be that person. But it's also interesting that, for example, if you look at the Catholic Church, they have been really sort of moving towards disclosure, right, for a very long time.
They'll be the first ones, I think.
Yeah. So what you guys just said, like, if you want to create a Starship Trooper society and you want to give it a religion, then you want to have certain religions to sort of incorporate this new information and then turn them into state religions, right? And then you want to shut down and silence all opposition to those new state religions, right? So certain religions will be set up in advance as they have been sort of working towards being those state religions by taking these new facts into account, like the Catholic Church and probably some other religions that we can think of. And then they will silence all alternative sounds. So I think, what Syd was just saying is actually a very healthy exercise for people who are listening, that they don't fall into the trap of taking one frame and taking it as an absolute truth.
Yeah, just so you don't end up being like in a cult, which is very dangerous, and not respecting other people's perspectives and history, and even though they're very similar and converge. So that is important.
Yeah, I think the thing that they shut down the border and kept all the illegal, that they try to get rid of all the illegal aliens and stuff. I mean, at a certain level, I understand it. We also have a huge problem in Europe in that regard. But that's not because of the people themselves, but because of the policies, right? The policies are idiotic, and then but they create the policies on purpose so that you create this backlash, which they can.
Yeah, they know that people are going to see them freeloading in hotels and getting cell phones.
Yeah, but that's because of the policies, not because of
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's not because they knew people get upset when they see that.
This is all to cause the civil war. They want the civil war. That's why they're doing it. Otherwise, there is no reason to, first of all, to bring illegal immigrants and then putting them in the 5-star hotels while the people who pay taxes are suffering. But we work a lot. We work like 50, 60 hours, and we're still struggling here. And then you're doing that,
And the governments in the Middle East are saying, thank you very much by taking our crazy young people and importing them, because we're finally rid of them.
But the reality is this is also propaganda, because majority of the illegal immigrants, at least in the United States, are not from Middle Eastern countries. It's coming from South America. And majority of, at least in England, the majority of the migration is coming from China, India, and Nigeria. Yeah. So there was like a whole thing going on that Muslims are taking over. I look into the stats for last 5 years. So number one country where you are getting immigrants from was India. Number 2, China. Number 3, Nigeria.
Yeah, but before that, there were a lot of Pakistani and a lot of other.
No, there are. I'm not denying that. But when I'm talking about top 3 are not Pakistanis. The top 3 Number 1 is India, number 2 is China, number 3 is Nigeria. In Europe, because in Europe, what happened, a lot of the North African and Middle Eastern, it's a walking route for them, so they do come over there. So in Europe, yes, you're getting it from the countries like Syria,
that was the war on Libya. I mean, Gaddafi was keeping all those migrants away from Europe.
Exactly, and that's why they removed them. And in United States, it's like all the coming from the Mexico, but all over the South America.
Oh yeah, Venezuela.
Yeah, but what's happening in South America is also, of course, interesting.
And now Trump is talking about bombing Venezuela. Like, what do you think ought to happen? There will be more immigrants here.
Well, you know my perspective on that, but I won't go into that. But
go into that. Yeah, we love to go into that.
First I want to make the other point, because what I wanted to say is actually the closing off of the borders is also a bigger sign that they want to close off sort of the mindset, right? So they want to close off everything,
right?
So I think also with the religions and what we just talked about is like they want to create some state religion and want to silence and also what we just said with
you can see them doing it. They're kind of doing it, right? With the Department of State, who they're kicking out of the country if you criticize who, if so they are trying to socially engineer the country. And
also with phase 1 is finished with what Karl Nell said, and remember what Karl Nell also said, which was one of my favorite interviews that he did. I think it was also the one where he said, "I have zero doubt," but he made the point that we need to transition through a state of disequilibrium. So he said, like, there's 2 states of stability, but in between, to get from one state to another, which is basically complexity theory, is a state of disequilibrium. And you have to manage that as a society as best as you can. And I think that's what they're actually doing.
Yeah. Nice insights, Nick. That's from a famous presentation he gave, and he goes through the timeline and goes through each stage and has a strategy or what. And this is from him, so they know this from the inside. He probably gave presentations like this.
And this is also the Soul Foundation, and I do like the Soul Foundation because they give excellent presentations. But you know, it is also the group of you know, it is basically the group of Christopher Mellon, and you know, the people who probably put out this podcast, and Louis Elizondo. And remember also what Louis Elizondo said about the biologics in his second interview with Ross Coulthard, when Ross Coulthard interviewed him. He said the biologics are kept in one of those buildings from the NHS.
What?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he said that.
I do not remember that. That's crazy.
But I don't trust a word from Louis Elizondo. So.
Yeah, unfortunately. He's good on TV though. He did great on Age of Disclosure, but I was like, man, this guy lies so much.
But I mean, like any disinformation agent, he will mix truth with falsehoods. I mean, that's also
he has.
What Greer says, right? Greer also mentions that they tell the truth, but they mix it. I mean, otherwise disinformation doesn't work, right? If you only tell lies, then nobody will believe it. So you have to mix in truths and half-truths.
Right.
Remember, it was Louis Elizondo who, I think he was the one who published the photo of a chandelier on the...
Yep, that was him.
Yeah, it was a clear chandelier, and I think that was a part of this deception that they want to fool everyone. Okay, nothing is happening. And everything was deliberate, because the first time I saw the picture, I said, "Yeah, that's a reflection of a chandelier." What
I know, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
and then the farm one, he did that one as well.
Yeah,
he just held up that picture. So you know, he's controversial.
But you guys, I mean, what I'm super excited about is two things right now. I'm super excited about the Baltic Sea anomaly. I mean, you know, that is super amazing, right? What they find out there, and I do trust the guy who's sort of running that operation. Or
me too. He's a good guy, and you know, the universities are funding him as well. It's not like a government. Well, you know,
and what is happening in Peru?
The mummies.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's only getting bigger and bigger, right? I mean, the three-handed and three-fingered.
They found meat or muscles in between the bones.
Yeah.
But that's why Pope is there in Beirut right now. Because it was very sudden. I just read that, okay, why Pope is visiting Beirut right now? But he is.
That's interesting. Yeah, he might have a huge leverage, right? Because they're very religious. So
yeah, very Catholic over there.
So he might make a deal with the university and say, yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah, I'm excited too. Everything is coming. I mean, did they seriously say 2026, 2027? So it looks like when you look at the big picture and this huge movements going on when it comes from the media, government, they are moving to something, right? You can't say that they're just, you know, randomly doing this. There's a huge plan coming, a huge push for something.
Yeah.
And it's still exciting, and I hope good technologies come out of this. I hope that we are able to benefit, you know, the economy with jobs and just get out of this. I mean, I feel like Americans can't get a break. There's always something going on, or at least it's been that way for the last 25 years. So
yeah, but that's sort of global, that feeling. So
yeah, right. I mean, yes. It is a global economy. Everything's connected and interconnected. So when a large economy like the U.S. doesn't do well, it does drag everyone down. So
yeah. So basically, what the U.S. is doing right now, because it has the reserve currency, it's leveraging that power that it has. I think last time you said, like, why do you want to weaponize a reserve currency?
Right. So stupid.
The question is, why wouldn't you? Right. So. I mean, at first you wouldn't, of course, because you want to get everybody, you know, to get into the water and see, it's safe, and you know, I won't abuse my power. But once everybody is into the water and things go right, then you start weaponizing it, and the more things go right, the more you weaponize it, right? Because then people want to get out of the water, and the more people get out of the water, the less influence and power you have. So you weaponize it in order to keep them into the water. But the more you do that, they want to get out of the water. So it's sort of like a
Exactly. Yeah.
prophecy, right? It's sort of like a race to the bottom.
Yeah, it's a behavior that just destroys things. You know, if they wanted to keep it doing well and strong and influential, then keep it neutral and open to everyone. Yeah. I mean, that's why BRICS is being developed, and more people are joining BRICS, and because they want out of this system. They don't want someone that can just take their money and steal it and weaponize it.
Yeah, but that was because the system was never meant to last, right? It could never work in the long term. I mean, that's
true, right? So it's almost like a planned destruction, and they knew it's not sustainable.
Yeah, so at some point it was unsustainable, right? And that's because, and that's the reason why it's unsustainable is because people can't let go of power, right? Because I mean, there is a way out of it. And China is China is sort of devaluing against gold. So what you need to do to get out of it is to devalue against something neutral that nobody controls. But if you really want to get out of it, you have to basically let go of the levers of power, like monetary control and fiscal control. But no government in the world wants to let go of it because they are the levers that give them power. So
yeah, they don't want true capitalism. I mean, once you have a central bank and centralized planning, that's not capitalism.
Yeah, so they go in cycles, right? From boom and bust. Like eventually everything goes to shit, and then they start over again because everybody is sort of, it's chaos and destruction. Everybody's killing themselves and each other. And then they have to restore order. And then you have like a gold age. You got the GI generation, and then the silent generation, and the boomer generation, and then the Gen X generation. Yeah. And then it starts over
again. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but one thing with AI, capitalism is not going to work, because if there are no people who going to do anything, then capitalism is not going to work. They have to create a whole new model. I'm not saying go to socialism or whatever, but like create a new model which will fit with the future.
Yeah. So this is I think this time is different, like Syd says, because this time it's like a zero-sum game, and this time there won't be. I mean, I think this time it will be an empire of 1,000 years. Like what the Nazis.
If they pull it off, if they pull this off, yes. I mean, but that means they have to include China within the system, and
or
Russia, right?
Separate blocks.
Maybe separate
spheres of influence, because you can't share power, right? It will be absolute power, so you will have blocks of.
No, there will be one world government.
I think there will be blocks.
No, I think there will be one world government, because that's their plan anyway, right? We know that they want one world government. So eventually it will merge, and then I think in the good scenarios we will expand towards the space, find new planets and go there. But I don't think that's a possibility. That's a possibility, but I don't think there are chances for that. I think they're going to reduce the. Yeah.
I mean, they'll only allow that if we are totally controlled, right? Where we can't go rogue, we can't take a spaceship.
Like Nick said, Starship Trooper world.
Yeah.
But I think they will go towards Armageddon world, where they will kill everyone.
But I think there's like three things that we can hope for. One, that with disclosure, that we will have true disclosure, and not from our governments, but from the UAPs themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, we also have to believe in this technology, right? Technology sets limits. Each technology that has been developed throughout history, the printing press or gunpowder or whatever technology you can come up with, it sets the limits to power. And you can't fight those limits. Technology simply sets them. That's the new game board, and you have to play the game according to those new rules. So that's 2, and 3 is they are going through a huge transition. Clearly, they are not all on board or on the same
there's a fight
stage. So there is a huge fight going on at the elite level. And they are going to make mistakes. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong. There's a lot of variables that they have to take into account, because the world is a complex space. So that leaves room for people to wake up and to unite and to fight.
And human beings, I think, are brilliant anyway, and we'll come up with solutions. And both, we'll fight. They'll fight back, but eventually it'll be a world, hopefully, that we'll all be happy with. I think technology is a double-edged sword. So whatever they're using, we can use it to our advantage as well. They can't ban AI anymore. That's it. It's out.
Yeah, that's the whole problem.
Grok, for example, Grok is turning against Elon Musk. It's happened multiple times. So you're right. It's a double-edged sword.
And that's one of the things that Catherine Fitz also pointed out, right? Because if, in the past it was an oil field, for example, and then you can just put guards in a wall and, guns around it, and then you can sort of secure your asset. But with AI and blockchain and all these new technologies, you can't put a gate around it and guards around it, because, it will be accessible to everyone at every place, and solo players will be as powerful as states at some point. So basically the only way for governments to contain this technology, which will level the playing field and get rid of governments altogether if they're not careful, is to put us in chains, right? I mean, that's their only options if they want to stay in power.
Yeah, that is the only option for them. Because
that's why they're doing what they're doing. That's why they're so insane, right? Because why did our government suddenly turn insane? Because they weren't insane like 20 years ago. We still thought like, they sort of listened to us, and we got elections and stuff. And suddenly, especially with COVID, but even before that, suddenly our leaders went insane from our point of view. So why did they go insane?
Great reset, right? Collapsing the system to create a new one, which which they want to last 1,000 years.
Perhaps, I hope not.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the moral of the story is that as long as the population is educated about these things, they won't fall into desperation and a trap of hopelessness, because as long as you're with people that are like-minded and understand this, you can still live. I think. Even in a future like that, you could still live a good life. Maybe not ideal, but it's a situation we're in. And Syd, I know they're planning on destroying the entire human race. I'm hoping
not
they don't.
Entire, but most of
99%, right?
Sure.
And that's probably also the only way they can survive, because too many humans is just too much of a threat.
Yep.
To their power structure.
Yeah, and that's also why I think small countries have a huge benefit compared to bigger countries, because you can project power on an equal level because of these technologies, while you don't have the liability of a huge population that you need to control and that you need to subject.
So true. I mean, look at the UAE, look at Israel. These are not big countries, but they utilize money and technology to push their influence globally.
Well, cool stuff. I want to say this, like, Qatar get the bad rep because UAE is the real trouble. Who is controlling everything? But nobody talks about UAE. Everybody talks about Qatar. Qatar is, I'm not like justifying Qatar. I hate Qatar as well.
Yeah.
But the real problem is UAE, and everybody's silent about it.
I think they have a strong lobby.
They have a very strong lobby, and they are committing genocide as well in Sudan right now. It's UAE. Nobody's talking about it except like few people.
They did it to Yemen too, but the Yemenis are not a joke. And I remember when they sent the drones. They sent the drones to Abu Dhabi, and then they stopped the war.
Yes, no,
so
Yemenis are a different breed. You can't defeat them. But
amazing, dude. I love these guys.
But for me too. For the people listening, right? I think you should not give up hope. I think you should connect with your neighbors. You should sort of set up these self-sufficient economies. Maybe even thinking about creating these circular economies, that run on their own currency. But especially that you don't isolate yourself, and don't feed off the system, right? And
yeah, exactly. Because that's what it wants. It wants you alone. It wants you doom scrolling, and it wants you relying on people 5,000 miles away from you.
Yeah.
When the power is within you and the community. And yeah, I think humanity will get over this. So, what do you guys have planned for next week? Anything do you guys know, or just playing it by ear?
I just want to do another podcast, but nothing, no plans yet.
No, I'm finally getting better again. I had a huge case of the flu Friday, and Saturday was also pretty rough. But I'm getting better again, and then we got some cool shows coming up this week, and then also next weekend. So
yeah, anything you guys want to announce? Any Bitcoin Live shows or other shows you guys want to?
Oh well, from Monday to Friday, we always run the Deorganized Good Morning show with Steve,
okay.
And he does sort of like a marathon show, which runs for 10 hours, which is sort of compromise of all kinds of other shows, and it's very cool.
Yeah.
And then in the weekend, it's mostly sort of Bitcoin Live, and I think we have 3 or 4 shows planned for next week. But from the top of it, I would have to look up which kind of shows that are. But you can always follow us, and yeah, it's fun. We did, by the way, get a double strike from YouTube. So
what? What was it for?
Yeah, it was not it's not a conspiracy, but because, like I said, Steve was running these marathon shows.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have a premium YouTube account, and sometimes they run reruns of our sort of shows on YouTube or their shows on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then because he doesn't have premium, you get advertisements in between of stuff that is copyrighted, and then you get a strike.
Okay. I'll give you one thing. I'll give you, if you don't have premium, you don't want to pay for premium, just put your VPN to Albania.
You're kidding.
Yeah, because in Albania it's illegal to run ads on YouTube. They don't see any.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so just switch it to Albania and you won't get it.
That's amazing.
Now,
you heard it
anyway. For YouTube, we will be silent for a while because we want to get rid of our second strike. Because if you get third strike, it's termination, and then we start over again. So there won't be YouTube shows on Bitcoin Live for a while, but it's worth it, right? I mean, we don't get any views anyway, so who cares?
But it's good for visibility to be on YouTube, and that's where people always go. But you guys are on all platforms anyway, and
we're on X, and we're on Twitch, and we're on Facebook, and we're on Rumble, and we're on TreeSpeak. And
nice. We will leave all of your links at the bottom of the show so people can follow you. We'll do that as well for us. Anyone listening, you guys like the show, share it with all your friends on your social media. You don't have to clip it or anything, or even if you do clip it, that'd be great. If you found anything that we said is worth spreading, we would definitely appreciate that. And you can find us on all the podcasting platforms and the video platforms. YouTube does take down episodes, so Rumble does not do that. So, if you want to see all of our episodes, you can see us on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, those guys. Spotify is starting to take off some episodes, although it's for music. But still, we're still good over there. Other than that, I think this was a crazy week for disclosure and the UAPs and AI and where the globe is going when it comes to disclosure and high energy breakthrough technologies. But it's an exciting time.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's also fun, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great ride, and I'm glad you guys are here for it. Well, I appreciate your support so much, both of you. So I want to let you know I'm very appreciative of that.
And same here, and I hope Tover will be next. Back next.
Yeah, he should.
Next one we'll probably do near Christmas or New Year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. I can't believe
the New Year one is much better because then we can predict the future.
Let's do it.
We can play bingo card.
All right.
We'll make bingo card or stuff like that.
All right, I'm all for it. Yeah,
let's do New Year. Yeah, then I'll be back from vacation.
Sweet. All right, nice. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everyone listening, and we'll all see you all next week.
Awesome.
Take care.
See ya.
Take care.